Welcome back. In today's session, we'll tackle question 52. How to create and alter SQL views and understand view attributes. Before we dive in, let's start with the basics. What is a view? In SQL, a view is a virtual table that is based on the result of a select query. When we say a view is a virtual table, we mean it looks and behaves like a table when you query it. But unlike a physical table, it doesn't store data itself, except in special cases like materialized views. Instead, it's really just a saved SQL query. Whenever you select from a view, SQL runs the underlying query and presents the result as if it were a table. Why use views? We use views for several reasons. Simplicity. They hide complex joins or queries behind a simple name. Reusability. Unlike common table expressions, CTEs, or subqueries, which exist only in a single statement, views are stored permanently in the database. Security. You can expose only specific columns or rows to users. Abstraction. If the schema of a table changes, you only update the view, not every query that uses it. Here's how to create a SQL view in SQL Server. If a view with the same name already exists, drop it first. Create the new view using create view name as select. After creating it, refresh your database object list to see it under the views folder. Query it just like a table. Note: the order by clause is not allowed in the definition of a view unless you use it with top or offset fetch, for a relation isn't ordered. Now let's see some view attributes and options. The most common ones include schema binding option, encryption option, and check option. We can add options using with. The schema binding binds the schema of reference objects and columns to the schema of the referencing object. It indicates that referenced objects cannot be dropped and reference columns cannot be dropped or altered. Specifically, it binds the view to the schema of the underlying tables. Prevents changes to underlying tables, like dropping or altering columns, that would break the view. Required if you want to create an indexed view. Let's see how it works in SQL Server. We alter the view with schema binding. Then try to drop the order number column from the underlying orders table. The object VW orders 2024 is dependent on column order number. Alter table drop column order number failed because one or more objects access this column. Without the schema binding option, you would have been allowed to make such a change as well as drop the orders table. Although this can lead to errors at runtime when you try to query the view and referenced objects do not exist. Encryption option indicates that SQL Server will internally store the text with the definition of the object in an obfuscated format. The obfuscated text is not directly visible to users though any of the catalog objects. Without encryption option, we can get the definition of the view and invoke the object definition function like the following query. Next, alter the view definition and include the encryption option. Try again to get the text with the definition of the view. This time you get a null. Therefore, encryption option hides the view definition or the SQL code from users. Makes it harder for others to see your business logic. Now let's see check option. The purpose of check option is to prevent modifications through the view that conflict with the view's filter. For example, with no check option, we can insert a row through the view into the orders table. However, because the view filters only the record in 2024, if you query the view, you will get an empty set back. Query the orders table, you can find the new inserted new row directly. Now let's delete the row from the orders table. Then we alter the view with check option and try to insert a row again. This time you get the following error message. The attempted insert or update failed because the target view either specifies with check option or spans a view that specifies with check option, and one or more rows resulting from the operation did not qualify under the check option constraint. The statement has been terminated. This ensures that any data modification to the view still satisfies the views where clause. Prevents inserting or updating rows that escape the filter. To summarize, a view is a reusable, virtual table built from a query. We can create and alter views in SQL Server and add attributes like schema binding to lock schema dependencies, encryption to hide the definition, and check option to enforce filter rules. By understanding and using these options, you can make your SQL views more secure, stable, and reliable. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this channel. Thank you.